Hi, my name is Vena. I'm originally from Rea, but I live in Nandi. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Bula, I'm John from Kornabuan, Papua. I love listening to Today FM. It rocks.
Bula, I'm Teopola.
Bula, I'm Akanisi.
We love listening to Today FM because it rocks in Ba.
Bula, my name is Tisa. I've been listening to Today FM.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In the news, Parliament passes bill to hire expatriate doctors. Rambuka dashes hopes of Christian state. And 37% rise in drug-related offences.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
A busy day in Parliament today with a number of bills being passed. One of the more interesting bills was the Medical and Dental Practitioner Bill, which was passed this afternoon. This now allows government to source specialists to fill in the vacant positions existing in public hospitals around the country. However, this bill was not without debate, with opposition not agreeing with getting overseas specialists.
But for our people to become specialists themselves, they need to have exposure to specialists. Now, isn't it better to get the specialists through this scheme and have them mentor our own people? Won't they learn faster and quicker and get that level of exposure, international training?
What we can do, what we need to do in this bill is to set in some safeguards for our people. We are growing our own doctors, specialists in here. We can open a Pandora's box and they crowd out our people. So we need to be careful that we put safeguards for them, that when you give them a license, there's going to be a time period to it.
Because we don't have specialists, they cannot recognize the severity of how sick a person is. So if you're trying to stop this, you're actually condemning more people to death. And that's all this bill is trying to do.
More than 40 retired teachers have been sent to serve in other Pacific Island countries since 2012. These retirees, apart from filling the teacher shortage issue in many island countries, are also earning a living for themselves after retirement. Kelly Vadala reports.
87 teachers will retire this year, and the Minister for Employment says government will not abandon their skills.
The National Employment Center, since 2012, to date, has sent a total of 43 retired teachers to Pacific Island countries. These countries have a shortage of teachers. They ask us for the teachers that we do have.
During the debate, opposition MP Mikaela Liawere questioned why experienced teachers were being replaced from exam classes and what substitutes have been put in place.
What is the ministry doing in terms of the replacement? Because we can just replace a 35 or someone who is not inexperienced to take over. Those 11,000 teachers, one day they had to face the classroom. Now, if we take the argument that these people, they are very experienced, we should not retire. We should not retire them. Now, Madam Speaker, look this side. There are fresh graduates here. They'll be graduating. You're saying we should not employ them and we should keep them. We should keep the 55 years. No. 55 years, they can go. We'll look after them. We'll retrain them to join the private sector. We will take them on.
Under the 2013 Constitution, an employee must retire from the public service at the age of 55, and teachers are always advised on this 3 months prior to their retirement. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
SODELPA leader Sitiveni Rambuka has broken his silence on the question of the Methodist Church proposal to declare Fiji a Christian state, saying it's something he, as a party leader, is against. However, the SODELPA parliamentary leader Rote Mumukepa told FBC News yesterday that while the party is not sure yet about declaring Fiji a Christian state, suggesting that the issue could be a reality. But Rambuka, as party leader, has now dashed any hopes of some within SODELPA that are supporting the church's call to declare Fiji a Christian state. Maggie Boyle with the story.
Because they are campaign mouth for SODELPA.
Prime Minister Vrange Bainimarama called out the Methodist Church in Parliament on Monday. His comments come after a submission of the proposed village bylaws were released over the weekend.
It sounded like SODELPA. It's a campaign material for SODELPA. So it's like 1987 all over again. Okay? The church being used as a political ground for a political party.
SODELPA leader Sitiveni Rambuka today responding.
It is not a true statement.
The SEDALPA has never asked the Methodist Church to be our mouthpiece.
Rambuka says there may be similarities with some of the church's proposals, but that's as far as he and his party's reach goes.
I don't have any influence. I have input. My input goes as far as the leaders' meeting in my own church. Whether the leaders in the church take that up, I go and attend the divisional meeting.
The PM says the church and the state must remain separate.
Not really fair for us Methodists, for people to politicize the church.
For Rambuka, while his past suggests otherwise, with the 1987 coup plagued with the Methodist Church's collusion then, today he claims it's a different story.
There is, and there will be, and there should be, and they continue to be separate entities.
The Methodist Church, while stating it does not support any political party, has stood by its submission, which has also called for the review of the 2013 Constitution to declare Fiji a Christian state, a recommendation that both Rambuka and the PM are against. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Drug-related offences have increased by 37% over the past 3 years. Responding to questions raised in Parliament this morning, Defence Minister Ratuinoke Kumbombola said under the police force's Operation Davuraka, over 300 marijuana plants have been found and uprooted, and people have been produced in court accordingly. Ratuinoke says there are also reports of hard drugs being found on the streets, and the police are trying their best to apprehend the sellers.
We need to be mindful of the effects of drugs on the user and the community or society they live in. Also, Madam Speaker, for the dealer or cultivator, months and years is wasted in the event, and they are locked behind bars, their family loses a member, and as a nation, we lose a productive citizen.
Kumbombola says he will not recommend to the government to legalise commercial use of marijuana. Ratuinoke made the statement while responding to a question by opposition MP Niko Waikula whether any thought will be given to the commercial planting of marijuana. The World Bank has shown confidence in Fiji and our country's future by deciding to move part of its Australia operations and setting up a regional office in Suva. The office will soon be located in the new FMPF Plaza on Ellery Street. To facilitate the successful setting up of the office, Parliament today passed the Diplomatic Missions and International Organisation Bill 2017. Attorney General Ayah Said Qayyum says, under the provisions of the bill, diplomatic missions and international organisations will be exempted from the requirements of the FMPF Act.
We expect that by March of next year, they will have at least 25 people working in the World Bank office, which is quite substantial for such an organisation to be based in particular in the South Pacific. They envisage that at least 10 of those staff, and perhaps even more, would be Fijian staff.
Still to come, 92 employers charged for non-compliance. And last man standing contestants gear up for Monday. Stay with us.
हम लोगों में रहते हैं और मिर्ची एफएम सबसे बेस्ट स्टेशन है।
हमारा नाम मेसी है, हम गोल्ड टाउन ताफुआ में रहता है और मिर्ची इज हॉट इन ताफुआ।
Hi, we Badels. We love Mirchi FM because it's hot.
निवेश तवरवा में रहता हूँ, सुनता है यहाँ मिर्ची एफएम is very hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
The Employment Ministry has charged 92 employers for not complying with the National Wage Regulation. Employment Minister Choneo Sumate says they will not spare any employers who fail to adhere to the rules. Saniani Boiler reports.
The Employment Ministry is coming down hard on employers who fail to abide by the national wage laws.
In time records, failing to pay workers their minimum rates of pay and failing to pay workers their wages due. During this period, our legal team has also filed a total of 52 claims in the Employment Relations Tribunal for wages due to these workers which were not paid by the employers when the ministry had served a claim letter to these employers.
Opposition MP Pramod Chand also questioned Usamate on the methods used to undertake consultations regarding the minimum wage rate.
There are many workers who do not have representatives, they don't have unions. So I'd like to know what is the broad
consultation and what is the mechanism that is being used to carry out this consultation?
The consultation is targeting to visit actual workers. So not just talking to the representative of workers. A lot of the people that are in the kinds of sectors that will be affected by the wage regulation orders and the national minimum wage are not unionized. They're not members of unions. So in order to consult them, the experts, economists come up with ways in which you actually visit them.
The ministry has conducted inspections to more than 2,000 employers since August 2016 to ensure that they are advised on the minimum wage rate and the wage regulation. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
Auditor General's reports from 2000 and 2006 have yet to be tabled. Opposition MP Aseri Randrondro raised the question with Attorney General Ayaz Said Qayyum on when the interim public accounts report from 2004 to 2010 will be tabled, which was scrutinized and submitted to the government. Randrondro was part of the Public Accounts Committee, which was terminated in 2014 due to gross mismanagement of funds.
These are the reports that neither the former PAC nor the current Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee have considered. These will be tabled as soon as possible and sent to the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee for review accordingly.
Speaker of Parliament Dr. Chico Luveni says that she will only comment on SADELPA's statement on restrictions of questions in the House after she reviews the content. Her comments comes after SADELPA leader Rote Mumukepa made a statement saying that Business Committee and Parliament are imposing severe restrictions on the type of questions tabled by the opposition MPs in the House.
When we bring up issues on sugar, it becomes a difficult issue to take through. Another one is if it has anything to do with the indigenous population, then it becomes, it is considered a racist issue. Some other issues too that we bring up, which becomes very difficult, is if we mention any areas in Fiji that need attention.
Only one vessel remains operational in Fiji's naval fleet. Defence Minister Ratu Inoke Kumbombola explained in Parliament today that since the crash of the RFNS Kiro last July, the Navy's fleet has been somewhat gutted. The minister was responding to a question from opposition MP Semesa Karavaki.
Currently there are 4 naval vessels, 1 operational vessel, which is the RFNS Kula. RFNS Kikau is being sea-lifted to Australia on the 27th of April for refit until December. The RFNS Lutoga is awaiting safety and structural survey next month. The RFNS Levuka is awaiting to be decommissioned because of its age.
One of the nominees for the position of Director General of the World Health Organization has vowed to help the Pacific nations. Dr. David Nabarro from the United Kingdom says his priority for the Pacific is more on health services and healthy living.
And 2 of those are really important for the Pacific Islands. That's the non-communicable diseases and health systems. But I want to stress also that infectious diseases will be a problem, especially if climate change changes the way in which mosquitoes behave and we get new patterns of diseases like dengue coming into your countries.
The stage is set for the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation's Last Man Standing competition. The 35 contestants today went through their final briefing and medical checks for the competition, which starts at the FBC House on Monday. The competition will see the 35 finalists placing their hand on the car, and the last person standing wins. The winner walks away with a brand new Elantra XL worth $59,000. Up ahead in sports with Jamie, Fijiana's Sevens team eyes more improvements, but before that, Rachel is here with business.
Thank you, Jackie. Good evening, and coming up in business tonight. Foreign movie makers show interest in Fiji. And in growing Fiji, Interior Island School gets fiber boats. Stay with us.
I'm Rafni from Nekota and I love listening to Today FM.
My name is Stanley Godler.
and I'm from Australia, but I'm part Fijian from Watraki, and I love listening to Today FM Rocks.
For the best music and less talk, we tune into Today FM in National Village. Today FM rocks. My name is Inaya Ali and I'm from Ba, and I love the big breakfast on Today FM. I just love it and hope you love it too.
My name is Jay from La Paz. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Naushin and I'm from Sambeto, and I love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In business, there are more than 60 companies involved in the logging sector. Minister for Forests, Osea Naingamu, told Parliament that these companies, predominantly owned by landowners through Fiji Pine Limited, have been paid more than $7 million. He adds this includes a forest trust levy set up to assist landowners with community-based projects. The minister was responding to a question by opposition MP on what assistance was given to landowners to help them purchase machines for their pine plantations.
In total, the FPL has paid out a sum of $7,421,755 to landowners since 2004. And this would allow them to invest in machines and other equipment to enable their active participation in logging operations.
Trade Minister Fayaz Koya says foreign interest in film production in the country continues to rise. Koya says this serves well for the country's GDP and is providing jobs to locals. He assured the Parliament that proper impact assessments are done before approval is granted to any film company.
Currently there are two series currently being shot on our shores. There's the French Survivor series presently being filmed at the Isawa Island Resort and Isawa Group, and Wrecked Season 2 at Mandiri Bay, Malomalo in Nandroga.
Fiji has not withdrawn from the PESA Plus agreement despite the conclusions of talk last week with 14 other Pacific Island countries. Trade Minister Fayaz Koya has confirmed to FBC News that despite Fiji's exclusion, talks are ongoing. PESA Plus is expected to enhance economic development in the region with Australia and New Zealand. PNG was excluded in last week's meetings.
We did write to them to ask them to defer the meeting. We've not withdrawn. We were excluded from the meeting, obviously, because we had written to them to ask them to defer the meeting, and found out that they held the meeting and then made the decisions. But no, we have not withdrawn. We were just excluded from the meeting. It was a bit of a surprise to us.
Global events continue to keep world markets on the move. Here's Elizabeth from HFC Bank to tell us more.
Inaka Rachel. First, good news for Australia, where the inflation rate for the first quarter remains steady at 0.5%. Now, glancing at the global stock market, the Dow Jones registered triple-digit gains as strong earnings underscored the health of corporate America. It was up 235.96 points, and the S&P 500 was up 13.17 points. Deal-making and earnings underpinned European stock markets as the focus shifted back to fundamentals and away from politics for now. The Pan-European Stock 600 index scored its fifth straight session of gains. It ended up 0.2% and is up 7.1% so far this year. Japan's Nikkei share average retook the 19,000 level yesterday for the first time in 3 weeks, buoyed by overseas gains and relief that North Korea did not conduct another missile test. The Nikkei finished up 1.1%.
Thanks for the update, Elizabeth. On to today's exchange rates. The Fijian dollar continues to weaken against the Chinese yuan and the American dollar closing at 3.23 and 46 cents respectively. Closer to home, the Australian and New Zealand dollars strengthened to close at 62 and 67 cents, while the PNG kina dropped slightly, closing at 1.30. Onto the commodities market, oil prices rose slightly to close at $49.67 a barrel. Gold dropped, closing at $1,267 an ounce, and silver followed suit, closing at $17.61 an ounce. In growing Fiji, Minister for Education Dr. Mahendra Reddy today handed over a glass fibre boat for 2 schools in the interior islands. He says government is aware of the difficulties students at Navesi Primary School and Uthiwai District School face and will ensure that the same is done for other schools in the maritime areas.
We are gradually removing all obstacles to education. We want our children to have accessibility to education. We can have good quality schools, primary and secondary schools out in the interior, but we also want to ensure that children are able to reach the school.
We have found difficulties in transporting students from our school to the hospital mainly, and some educational activities that happens in other schools. Therefore, our schools have been asking the ministry for our new boat.
And that's it from Business Tonight. Now to sports, and here's Jamie with the latest.
Thank you, Rachel, and good evening. In sports after the break, Fijiana coach eyes more improvements. And youngsters enjoying school holidays at sports camp. This and more coming up.
Well, what TV Tarokuta, my Vonokula and Rasa Lutoka, Duba Talitaka Navarro on a radio Fijuan.
Bulan Arango Fina, my Corviri Nandi, Auto Talitaka Navarro and a radio Fijuan, na Procaramu, Masmasu, and a Mataklai.
Oya Chone Kurinambila, my Vunagoru, Namakete Hinga Tokapwe, do Talitakina Navarro on a radio Fijuan, Kenya and Domoiviti.
Na radio Fijuan, and Domoiviti in Honga and Vienna.
The Telecom Fijiana side believes it can do better than its top 4 finish at the Japan Sevens over the weekend. The team has maintained some consistency in the series so far, finishing the first 3 tournaments in 5th place, then narrowly missed out on a 3rd place finish on Sunday after going down to Olympic gold medalist Australia 19-17. Rohit Deo has more.
Back from doing the country proud, the TFL Fijiana side can hold their heads up high for a 4th place finish in Japan.
I'm really proud of the way they performed. Couldn't have asked for more, but as always, you're good as your last game, and you've got some more cons, and it's something you've got to try and get it done by the next 3 weeks.
Coach Ilesa Tanivula adds that this is not the end of the road, as his team is capable of achieving much more.
I guess credit to the team, the way they've worked hard for each other, and I guess there's more to come.
Captain Ana Maria Rongida says the 1-week camp in Japan helped tremendously.
Overall, our performance was really good. The supporters out there from the Oita Rugby Club, we want to thank them for supporting us and giving us that 6 days of camp in Oita. It was really good.
The side resumes preparations next week for the Canada leg, which will be held next month. Fiji lies on 4th spot on the standings with 50 points. Rohit Deo, FPC Sports.
Joseph Roden has been re-elected as the president of the Fiji Association of Sports and National Olympic Committee at its annual general meeting last night. Roden retains his post, having won the election against former Vice President Makarete Lenoir. Roden collected 25 votes, while 20 votes went to Lenoir. Vanessa Kilner also retains her Vice President's post, while Kathy Wong has joined as a member of the Fastenok Executive Board. More than 50 youngsters are taking part in the Fiji Sports Council holiday camp at Suva's Vodafone Arena. The program, which was designed by Think Pacific, is for kids from 4 to 13 years and is used to not only entertain kids over the school holidays, but to promote health and fitness while learning different sports. Meli Tavanga reports.
The Fiji Sports Council's Sports Camp program is all about teaching children the basics of sports in a fun yet skillful environment.
For this week we're going to have rugby, AFL, hockey, and also working with athletics. So we're working on the physical side, but also working on the sport-specific skills as well.
The sports camp is designed to give children a more meaningful and active school holiday experience.
Of the term holidays, get them active, get them learning about sports. What is good about this is that it gives your children something to do that is active. They're learning a new sport every day, and they're learning the sports education side of it.
FPC Sports also spoke to participants on what they've learned from sports camp.
Sports camp to me, it's very active for children.
and for children that are small and active.
I learned cricket, how to bat the ball and how to catch it, and we learned how to run, the style of running, and soccer, how you dribble the ball.
The sports camp program on offer are basketball, cricket, baseball, netball, rugby, athletics and tennis. The week-long event ends on Friday. Melitawanga, FBC Sports.
The Fiji women's under-16 football team has started its preparations towards qualifying for the under-17 World Cup next year. The extended squad is in camp preparing for its first hurdle, the Oceania playoffs in August. Rohit there with the story.
A feeling of togetherness in this team which will be needed to tackle the best in the region.
Sickness or injury they may have in them or have.
The girls are enjoying the preparation, especially most of them are new to camp. So first time they enter camps, they were shy, nervous. So now when days go by, like they getting to be like team bond.
15-year-old Natambua High School student Harina Erosito is one of the best players in the team. However, she is aware that making the final team will be a tough task.
All the girls that are here, for me it's like it's so tough for me to compete with these girls. I know some of them, this is their first time, but I'm not underestimating them. So our training is tough with these girls.
32 players are in camp preparing for the Oceania Championship, which will be held in August. Out of this squad, 25 players will be selected, who will resume the second phase of camp.
The day of the session of the camp, like we are looking forward for like fitness and especially basic skills for the girls.
The week-long camps ends on Friday. The OFC Under-16 Women's Championship will be hosted by Samoa in August. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
Fiji Under-18 Rugby League players will have a chance to impress NRL scouts when they take on the Canberra Raiders development team tomorrow in its first encounter of its 6-match Australian tour. Coach Meli Mbalin says this will be good exposure for the young players, with most of them playing overseas for the first time. The Junior Mbati take on the Canberra Raiders development team at 1 p.m. tomorrow.
To Canberra. From there we will have soft test for the Canberra Raiders. After that we'll be having a training session to prepare for the games.
The biggest heavyweight boxing bout in recent time will take place on Sunday morning when 27-year-old British boxer Anthony Joshua takes on 41-year-old Ukrainian Vladimir Klitschko. The pair go toe-to-toe at the home of football, Wembley Stadium in London, in what may be the biggest fight of Joshua's career. And you can watch that fight live on FBC TV. Coverage begins 5:30 Sunday morning. Fasanok has started its fundraising to support the 1 Million Stars campaign, which will be used at the Commonwealth Games next year to advocate an end to all forms of violence. The 1 Million Stars project was started by Samoan lady Marianne Pau after a tragic rape and murder of a young woman in her community in Australia. In an effort to engage communities, Pau started on a journey to weave and collect 1 million stars, which will be installed at the Commonwealth Games. Fasanok is now working on collecting as many stars as they can in support of the project.
When the Queensland government heard about the project, they thought they'd link up with the Commonwealth Games Committee, and they came up with the idea of trying to get 1 million stars to be installed at the Games village.
कमल रोशनी है, हम लोगों में रहते हैं और मिर्ची एफएम सबसे बेस्ट स्टेशन है।
हमारा नाम मिर्ची है, हम गोल्ड टाउन तापुआ में रहता है और मिर्ची is hot in तापुआ।
Hi, we bad girls. We love Mirchi FM because it's hot.
निवेश तावरा में रहता है, सुनता है यहाँ मिर्ची एफएम is very hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Facebook is going places once again. They've now unveiled Spaces, a social VR platform that lets users hang out with their Facebook friends in the virtual world. And we join Angie now with the very latest in weather.
Hello there and welcome to the Weather World.
If you noticed, conditions were much hotter than yesterday, but thanks to afternoon showers for cooling it off for us. Now you might be wondering why we were having showers and thunderstorms out of blues. Well, it's due to a weak trough that is slowly moving over Fiji. Checking out the scenario in the west, it was mostly sunny with most centers reaching 32 degrees. Showers will increase by later tonight, becoming heavier. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, it was quite humid, but most areas will experience heavy showers tonight as well. And up in Vanuatu, it was all clear with afternoon isolated showers. At sea, east to southeast winds 10 to 15 knots with moderate seas. And for those that plan on fishing tonight, low tide will be at 12:30 with a high tide tomorrow morning at 6:46. Sunrise will be at 6:19. Also tomorrow, the day will be fine apart from few lingering showers in the east. Tomorrow's temps, Suva, Nandi and Lambasa will be a bit warm with highs of 31 and lows of 23 and 24. And looking further on to Friday, all the showers will disappear and give us a pleasant day. And that, Jackie, wraps up our FPC weather for tonight.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In the world of the weird and the wonderful, Steph Heyman is part of the England paracheer team, where physically disabled and other athletes compete side by side. The 2017 World Cheerleading Championships in Florida will be the first ever to feature paracheer teams. On Fiji and Pulse today, we asked the public, should Fiji bring in more expatriate doctors for public hospitals?
I think in terms of looking for doctors with expertise in certain fields, probably yes, while they're trying to fill in the gap. But in the long term, I think we need to start looking at training our own doctors, because I think we've got capable people who can step up.
Yes, people will receive better treatments.
Yeah, I think it's very important because the medical facilities are very poor. Yeah, that's why.
Recapping the main stories, Parliament passes bill to hire expatriate doctors, Rombuka dashes hopes of Christian state, and 37% rise in drug-related offences. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we are asking, do you think the Coke Games should be moved to the West next year? Visit our FBC website to answer. On to our shot of the day. Today's shot comes from Graham Stageman. This image was taken under the moonlight at the Suva foreshore opposite the ANZ Stadium of the Dhamakaos. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News, or you can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That was your FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, bye for now.
Warong na radio Fijuan. Bulan na rango pina wa korviri nandi au talitaka na warongo na radio Fijuan na programa ni masmasu na mataklailai.
Oya ochone kurinambila mai bunangoru na makete hinga toka kwe do talitakini na warongo na radio Fijuan gene na domo ibiti.
Na radio Fijuan na domo ibiti na bonga ni bienen.